Main event time. This is the main event, not one that anybody expected, but this is very high level nonetheless. Arnold, Almighty Allen facing off against Super Sodiq Yusuff, man. First and foremost, man, I think Yusuff right now is very highly touted, and a lot of people are very high on him. And we got our 3 Nigerian champions, so we're showing more love to Nigerian and Sodiq Yusuff. And while he is a great boxer, he got some good calf kicks, he got tree trunk legs for real, for real. I think that people need to watch out, man, because Arnold Allen, if you don't know who this dude is absolutely legit, man. And one thing about him, which was the same thing I said about Stipe, and unfortunately I got proved wrong, when Ngannou shut his lights off. But Stipe, the big thing that made him so great is he just knew how to win. He knew how to squeak out a win. You know what I mean? It didn't matter if it was ugly. It didn't matter if it was pretty. He knew how to win. And Arnold Allen knows how to win. He just fought. If you want to worry about maybe getting taken down, which Sodiq Yusuff is not going to do, he averages like 0 takedowns a fight. But if you want to worry about, I know I'm a good boxer, but how is my wrestling and my grappling going to hold up? Well, he fought Nick Lentz, and he put it on Nick Lentz, and got the decision win against him. And if Nick Lentz can't take you down, there's very few people who could take you down in this sport, man. Give me your impressions from both fighters. Who are you a little more high on right now, and who have you just known in terms of name recognition over the past couple weeks?
I'm a little more high on Sodiq Yusuff personally. I've been watching a little bit more of him, and I think it's because in that Arnold Allen fight, bro, he absolutely pieced up our homie Nick Lentz. All right, and then the retired Nick Lentz, he put a good fight, and I think what Arnold Allen utilized most was his movement.
Mm-hmm.
He was putting the Floyd Mayweather approach, where he was getting hit or hitting but not getting hit, using a lot of lateral movement, and it was running a little bit, but hey, man, he got the win, and he absolutely put a hurting on Nick Lentz's face. So I think to me it was just a little bit. He could have easily ended the fight. I felt like he was easily in control, and he was just running a little bit too much, where Nick Lentz could try to take him down, but he was bullying him, man. He was stronger. He was able to shuck him off a lot of the times. So I think Arnold Allen just could have performed a little bit more. I was like writing this down. I made the joke that he looked like a Kmart version of GSP. Like if GSP was in there with Nick Lentz, man, he would have put him out. He would have done it. It'd have been over round 1 or round 2, Whereas Arnold Allen was in there, and they look the same. They have a similar fighting style because they both train out of TriStar. So obviously, there's some similarities there. But man, I was just a little more high on Yusuff because he doesn't care if you take him down. He's just gonna stand up. He's just just strong. Those thick boy squad legs are just gonna all right, I'm going up.
You go
so
Derek
I'm a little
Lewis,
more high on
right?
him because I think the crowd allure and the presence of the media has just been getting to me on him. That's probably the only reason, man.
No, I hear you. I was saying he does the Derek Lewis approach, where he's like, what is jiu-jitsu? Just stand up. What are you talking about, dude? You know what I mean? But no, man. So I hear you. And Arnold Allen, yes, I think I watched him in his last fight, even his fight against Gilbert Melendez, man. I'm seeing Conor McGregor right there. And what I mean by that is Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, where he's really heavy on that lead leg, and he's really just taking a boxing stance, man. And that's the interesting thing is, I think a very, very plausible path to victory for Sodiq Yusuff is you start chopping at those legs, man. You start chopping at that front leg of Arnold Allen. First off, you're going to have to be careful because he is going to counter you, man. That's his thing. His hands are lightning quick. His jab is like a piston. So I think speed advantage for Allen, power advantage for Yusuff. And then for Yusuff, also with those tree trunk legs, better whip those calf kicks, right? But Arnold Allen has a knack of not being there, right? You throw the calf kick, but he's just going to not be there. You know what I'm saying? Use the footwork, use the head movement. And that's the thing about Sodiq Yusuff that I noted is that he closes distance, right? He's a pressure fighter. He's going to walk up to you. He's going to try to take your head off, but he uses very little head movement when he's closing distance, and that's going to be real trouble against Arnold Allen, who, like I said, I just think that he has that precision that is going to kind of play in his favor as opposed to the power, because he was piecing up Nick Lentz, but not once did Nick Lentz really look like he was like about to be out of there, right? It looked like it was more pitter-patter shots, Mayweather approach, hit, don't get hit, but that's kind of the name of the game if we're talking about boxing. This is MMA. It's a little bit of a different sport.
I agree with you to a point. I definitely think Yusuff is stronger, but I also think he's faster. To me, when he was fighting that Fili fight, which Andre Fili is quick, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was the big difference is he was a lot faster than Andre Fili. Mm-hmm. He had very crisp shots. And what I really noted is his like, he would pop you at the end of his shots, and it was fast. Sure. Way faster than Andre Fili. So that I was very, very impressed, as well as he was totally okay with being taken down. Like Andre Fili, I don't remember exactly how it was, like 5 some takedowns he had on him. And it was just like, no problem. Just quick, easy double leg swoop. And Sodiq Yusuff was just rolling with it in the transition, stand up, no problem. It was all good. His ground game looked very strong. He was very heavy. He's very big for the division, so I think it's going to be a lot of pressure. Man, yeah, I'm very high on Sodiq Yusuff. I completely also blanked out on what you were asking
No,
there.
it's all good. I think it'll be interesting because this is a southpaw versus orthodox matchup, right? Arnold Allen, the southpaw, Sadiq Yusuff, the orthodox fighter. But something that I'm noting, just looking at the stats here, right? Sadiq Yusuff, he lands 6.10 significant strikes per minute at a 52, almost 53% clip, which is very, very high. But that's what I'm talking about. He's fighting these dudes who are not moving their head. You know, he's sitting there head hunting, really loading up on these shots. I just think Arnold Allen is going to present. He's going to be a tough puzzle to solve because of how much he's constantly moving his feet and his head. So that's the thing. Sometimes people will use a lot of head movement, but they have poor footwork. Arnold Allen's footwork is impeccable. So you're throwing the strike and he's just not there to be touched. And that's what makes me wonder, Sadiq Yusuff, I don't want to hate here, man, but Arnold Allen has a lot more time in the cage in his last 5 fights in comparison to Yusuff. Yusuff's last 5, unanimous decision versus Feely, right? That was a tough one, but he got the win, very convincing win too. Knocked out Gabriel Benitez, TKO round 1. UD versus Moraes, TKO round 1 versus Mokhtarian, and then a very impressive unanimous decision win against Mike Davis, but that was a long time ago, man. That was not very, very recent. So we have to take into note, man, a big name that Arnold Allen has beaten, right? So Yusuff has got Andre Touchy-Feely, but Arnold Allen has Amir Khani. So it's like, that's a big win. Marquand Amirkhani, man. You know, Gilbert Melendez, Nick Lentz, like that strength of schedule is a little bit higher than Sadiq Yusuff's to me. So I know it really seems like at this point we could break it down in terms of it's going to be a stand-up contest, and I think this has fight of the night written all over it as well. But we're clearly coming from 2 different stances where we like the pressure fighter versus the dude who is going to be fighting on the back foot but constantly countering. And it'll be interesting to see how the judges would score it because when we saw Nick Lentz basically walk forward the entire fight against Arnold Allen, Allen still very clearly won the fight, you know what I mean? Because he was able to utilize the opponent's momentum against him. So just give me some final thoughts before we conclude this one out.
Well, I like what you said because Arnold Allen does have the superior movement, especially lateral movement for sure. And what I was liking is he has a very stiff 1-2. That second one comes right behind the first one and it hits you hard. And he also gets better as the fight gets longer. So he definitely has a lot going for him. I just think that Yusuff is going to outclass him in the beginning, personally. So I don't think it's going to happen quick, but I'm going Yusuff KO round 2. I think it's going to be a fun, fast fight, and I think it's going to end early, or at least a little early.
No, I mean, hey, man, that's your opinion, and you were entitled to it, my friend. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going the opposite. I'm going Arnold Allen, and I don't think it's ending early. I think this is going to last a long one. This is going to be a barn burner. I think this is going to be a 3-round war, absolute war. If these two fight the way that they normally fight, this is going to be a war. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The only question is, does somebody get put to sleep in the middle of that war? And I mean, we'll see. But ultimately, so yeah, I'm going Arnold Allen unanimous decision. I think this is going to build upon this 5-0 win streak that he's on right now. You know what I mean? And Sadiq Yusuff, I don't know. They're both 5-0 in their last 5, so it'll be interesting, man. It'll be very interesting. And this is one thing that I want to note just finally before we do our fight of the night picks, man. It made me a little sad because this is like one of the fights I was talking about earlier in Impa Kasanganay versus Sasha Palatnikov. I just wish they would have let these fighters kind of build themselves up a little bit more before having to finally face each other. Because like I said, it's the unfortunate part of this game, but somebody has to lose. And whoever loses, I hope their stock just doesn't drop a bunch, man. Because this is the future of the featherweight division right now. What we're seeing in this matchup is the future of what the featherweight division will be. And right now we got the Max Holloways and Volkanovskis, you know, handling business. Cool. But give it a couple years and I can guarantee you one of these dudes may very well be a champion in this division, man.